Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Digital Ministry Support Network here as we all kind of group together each Tuesday and try and help one another through the digital ministry maze that we all try and embark into on occasion. And I'm Tim. Lauren's here with me, and Icky, our producer extraordinaire, is behind the scenes helping us out. So we're excited everybody's here, and we got a really cool topic today. We are going to jump into YouTube and how to kind of start yourself off in YouTube, some of the basics and best practices. Lauren, but first, Lauren, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Excited to go into our topic today, talk about how we can use YouTube, get everything going up. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, this is a very well used platform, and I think for ministry it poses some real unique opportunities as well as challenges as we go in and we try and provide content. It's easy, but providing care and connection as well via the YouTube platform becomes kind of our challenge. I know we were talking earlier about how for ministry our end goal isn't just views, it's making disciples, right? So that's what
Yeah,
we'll,
definitely. And we've been talking.
go ahead.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot on these different platforms and different social networks, how we can use them. That it's not just about how to use the platform and which one you're using, but it's about really what you use it for. It's not just about the technical aspects of it, but also some of those strategic aspects you were talking about too.
Absolutely. So, but before you can get real strategic, you got to know how it works. So, this is how it works, everybody. We are going to dive in and we're going to look at kind of how you set up your account, how to get that just from initial. If you don't have any internet fingerprint whatsoever, you can, except for an email. You're going to need an email today, but that's it. And we're going to go from there. We're going to look at how to optimize your channel, put together some of the various settings. We're going to look at how to go live from YouTube, as well as I'll show you real quick where you upload videos. And then we'll take some Q&A as well. So I'm excited to get us rolling here. And Lauren, why don't you walk us through the beginning of YouTube? We hop on youtube.com. What happens next?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like Tim said, we're talking about some of those strategic elements. But first, you have to be able to have a channel, right? So, we got to start at the very beginning. So, here we are on youtube.com. So, we're going to go through how to set up your account. Like Tim said, you're going to need just an email address. So, first, we're going to go here up to the sign in. So, that's kind of confusing because you can't sign in if you don't have an account, but that's actually how we're going to create one. So, you'll click up here to sign in. And then right here at the bottom, it says create accounts. We don't have one yet. We're going to go ahead and create one. So you'll click down here, create account. Right now, we're talking about churches. We're talking about organizations in general. So we're going to go to manage my business right now. So we're not going into personal accounts like we've talked about on previous live streams. When we go for church organizations and different things like that on social media, we don't want to go as much into personal accounts. So we want to create an account for our business. So when you create a YouTube account, it's going to be intertwined with a Google account. So creating a YouTube account is going to give you a Google account at the same time. So definitely keep that in mind, that it's going to be, this account that you're creating is going to be accessible through different Google services. So you don't need to have a Gmail account, but you'll need to have an email address. So we're going to go ahead and I'll just put in my name here. So we'll put in, you can put in your church name. You can put in the organization name or anything, but you just want to use those two fields to put in first and last name. And then we're going to go ahead and put in, I'm going to use just a testing address for this exercise here. You'll go ahead and put in the email address, and you'll see that I'm not using a Google email address. I'm not using a Gmail account, and I don't want to create a Gmail account. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to create a password, and I will just put it here.
And real quick, Lauren, as we're talking about that email thing, it's really important that if you're setting up your church email your church Google account, you don't want to use your personal email or anything that's tied to you. You want something that lives beyond you and stays with the church. So make sure you choose which email you're going to use and interact with carefully.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. When we're creating things for churches, sometimes we see that different people will maybe volunteer for positions, and sometimes we have some changes. And if somebody uses their personal email address, the rest of the church will be locked out from that account potentially when they move on. So we want to continue to keep this as generic, maybe we can use that word, as possible for the church. So if you have a church info address or something like that, see if you can get access and use something like that that's going to be really central to the church, not just to an individual. So we'll go ahead and click next here. We won't save that for now. So I got a code in my email. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my email. So I have it here off to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and go into that email. So it's sending me a code to the email that I put in, right? So let's see. So I've got my email. I'm going to put in my code. That was in the body of the email they sent me, and then we'll go ahead and verify. So that's why it's important to make sure that you have access to the email that you're using. So I'm just going to put in some basic information. Phone number is optional, so I'm not going to put that right now, but you guys can go ahead and put that. Maybe your church number or something like that. So we're going to go ahead and put something like that, and then we'll go ahead and put the information that it's requiring. We'll just do this just for general purposes right now. And then after we put in some of that basic identity information, it's going through the privacy and terms. So you'll want to take a look at some of the things that they're talking about, especially because you're creating, remember, a Google account at the same time. So this account is going to be used for some different things. So you'll go ahead and scroll through some of this information here, what they're going to use for the data on this account, and things like that. You can click through some of these options. And after you've had a chance to look at all of that information, we'll go ahead and agree, and we'll continue on to our account. So our Google account is all set. So our business profile can be added. Let's do that later. We can talk about that at a different time, but we're not going to do that right now. We just want to go into YouTube on this specific training. So we click not now. We're going to go into our YouTube account now. So we've got our channel set up. So we're on the YouTube page, right? On the YouTube homepage. So we've gotten our channel set up, right? So the next thing that we're going to do, like Tim said earlier, we're going to talk a little bit about how to optimize your channel. Now that you have a channel, you can go ahead and reach your audience and go ahead with all the kinds of engagement we've talked about. But we got to get our channel set up in the most strategic way possible right now. So we have our channel, and we want to see what we can do to make it the most strategic as possible, right? So once you created your Google account, like we said, those two are together, right? So you have your Google account, you have your YouTube account, and all of that. But once you go to your YouTube page after you create your Google account, you see what I did. I went to the drop down and clicked create channel. So now we want to go into some of the YouTube parts of it. So I'm just going to create an account with my name and picture right now because that's what we've got. But what you're going to do is you're going to create using a brand. So, well, actually, let's go that way so we can kind of explore that. So you're going to use a custom name. So you'll see here it says create a channel using a brand or other name and picture. So we want to use your church name, right? We want to use your church name, your church photo, your church branding, all of that that you have set up that you may or may not hopefully be using in other places. You want to use that here as well. So we'll talk about the church name. So let's just put, we've got our Southern California Conference. We've got our church. You'll put your church name. We're going to look at Tim's church a little bit later. We've got North Hills Church, right? You'll see that later, how it's very branded, very simple, very recognizable, right? So we're creating a new Google account, including YouTube, search, watch, all of that stuff. So this is going to be in YouTube. So create your channel name. Make sure to use just your recognizable church name. We click create and we'll see that load here. So we can go into some of the other details. You'll see this is a super basic skeleton account, right? We just set it up. So we're going to look at all the things you can do when you go forward. So uploading a profile picture. Mhm.
A little behind the scenes for everybody. In order for us to do this from scratch, we only went a certain way. Like Lauren only went a certain depth into it. And so as YouTube has changed things here and there, we're all kind of in this together. We're exploring this, but here and there we'll navigate, and we might have to search for something a little bit because it's been a while since we set up a YouTube channel, but it should be fairly straightforward as we continue on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that, Tim. It's been a while since we went through these steps for some of the organizations we work with. So some of these social platforms change things as we go. So we're going with the flow. So the next thing you'll see is profile pictures. So if you've already established for your church branding, a logo, some of those types of things, you'll go ahead and use that here. If you haven't gotten to that point yet, definitely we encourage you to do that. But if not, you'll go ahead and put whatever imagery you're using, maybe on Facebook or on your website, that can be a recognizable logo, because you want to make sure as you go forward in terms of imagery, branding, that one of the number one things you want to do is be consistent. That's the name of the game when it comes to branding. Once you stray away from consistency, brands really start to kind of fall apart a little bit, and they become a little bit weaker. So try to be as consistent as possible with the imagery that you do have. So we'll go ahead and upload a picture right now. Let's see, so I'm just gonna go over, actually, let me cancel this out. So let me go ahead and find the picture I wanna use off to the side, and let me go ahead and include the picture I wanna use, and we'll show you what that looks like. So while I'm doing that,
Lauren, can I ask you a quick question? For
sure.
the churches that don't have a logo developed or things like that, is it okay for them to use the general Adventist logo of the Bible in the flame, or does that make things more confusing? What would you say?
Have anything that, I think that would be okay as long as all the other parts of your or your channel are clear. So the name is clear that it represents a local church, your description is clear, all of your other information is clear that it represents a local church. Sometimes
Okay.
that Bible in Flame might look like it's a different organization, perhaps conference, division, some of that stuff. But if you want to use it for a local church, I think that's okay. You're still an Adventist church, and just be sure that all of the other information on your account is clear.
Okay. Thanks.
Perfect. Yeah, of course. Thanks for the question. So what we're going to do is I'm going to upload a picture, and I'm going to actually use that Bible in Flame logo that we talked about. So I've got it on my desktop here. And let's see. So I've got church logo, and I'm going to just select that right here, right? So we're going to upload that picture. We've got that picture in there. So it's as simple as that, right? And you'll see when you're uploading
Just
the
so you
picture that,
know, Lauren, we didn't see the other windows. All we saw was the standard window, and the graphic just appeared. So
got it. Okay. Okay. Good to know. So yeah, so I clicked upload. It gave me a window to choose from the files I have on my computer, just like when you're uploading for any other website. And then I chose this, and then just like magic, it appeared, right? So we've got that image there. What you'll notice when you're creating your YouTube channel is that the profile picture is circular. So keep that in mind. If you're using this logo, that's going to work really well. If you have maybe a square picture that you like to use on some of your other channels or on your website or something, just keep that in mind, because it's going to go ahead and revert it into a circle. So when you go into your channel description, if you have maybe your mission statement or anything about your church, you're going to want to put that here, right? You're going to want to keep it as professional as possible. So rather than addressing people and typing out something, see what verbiage that you have that you already use. So any sort of mission, vision, things about the church that you can go ahead and put there. Remember, consistency. So anything that you've used other places.
it's a good place to put your church a link or two, but don't get too carried away as well. Like you don't want just a bunch of links right there, I would assume.
Definitely. Thanks for that, Tim, because sometimes we think that we have so much information that we have to share it, right? People have to see all of this information that we have, which of course we have a lot of great information and content to share. sometimes we forget that if we put all of it out there all at once, that we're doing ourselves a disservice, because people are going to be so overwhelmed that they might not notice or see any of what we put. And so that's kind of going against what we want. So be sure to choose the most concise, relevant information that you have. Now, this next section is really, really helpful. So if, like Tim was talking about, you're super basic, you have an email and you want to just start out your very first thing with YouTube, this section might not be, you might not be there yet. But if you have already a presence online with your church, you have some of the other foundational aspects like a website, have a Facebook account, you have a Twitter account, maybe Instagram, just a couple of these things, go ahead and put them here. So you can put your church website, you can put your Facebook account and all those other things. So this is really helpful, because if you put those links all here, it would look a little bit jumbled and a little bit more overwhelming, but here they're specifically labeled for the platforms that they represent. So this is really helpful that they've done it in such an organized way that you can link these accounts and your viewers will be able to know where to look for them. So we're going to go ahead and continue on to the next step. So we've gotten our profile picture, we've gotten some general description information for the church. If you have any of those accounts, website, social media accounts, you can go ahead and put those. So we've now arrived at the homepage for our channel, right? So again, super basic. We don't have anything on here yet, but in the next section, we'll go a little bit into, Tim's going to talk a little bit more about how you can really optimize some of this. Just a couple things I want to point out to you before Tim takes over is that you'll see a couple things here. So once you get more into your channel, all of your videos will be here and they'll just be listed chronologically. The newest ones will be at the front, no matter what topic they're on, no matter anything like that. They'll just all be listed here. But when you go to playlists, this is where you can create something that's kind of like a folder. Think of it in that way. So, or like an album where you go to pictures, something like that. It's like that for videos. So you can create a playlist for Sabbath morning live streams. You can create a playlist for, maybe your church has health ministry lectures. You can create your health ministry videos. You can create, maybe you do Sabbath school live stream. You can put your Sabbath school videos. So you can just section off everything into its own folder, right? And that way it's a lot more user-friendly than your videos tab, where they're just all in there chronologically. You don't want these two tabs to be mirror images of each other, right? You really want to utilize the benefit of this playlist tab, where you can section your videos, categorize them in a way that's going to help your audience engage with them. Again, like we talked about earlier, if your audience comes to your page, even if they click on playlist and they see every video you've ever produced or every live stream you've ever streamed, just all there on one page, they might be a little bit overwhelmed and not really know what to click on or how to find what they're looking for. And sometimes when people feel that way, unfortunately, they might just give up and just click out of your page. And we don't want that. So a way to help them be encouraged to interact and engage with your information is to make it user-friendly and organized. So we've got a couple of other tabs here, but these are the main ones that you're going to want to encounter. So when you get to your homepage, Tim's example is going to be really helpful here. You'll see some of the information that people will first see when they go to your channel. You'll have a featured video. You'll use something that's either really relevant and current or something general, like a video explaining what your mission statement is that can be there all the time. So a couple different things like that. But I think rather than talking about that, I think it's a little bit easier to show it. What do you think, Tim?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's
right.
There's a lot that you can do that allows you to kind of customize things. So welcome, this is the North Hills Church YouTube channel. And we haven't done as much as we could. So this is, this is fun transparency that there's a lot more that we can still do as well as we keep learning and growing together. But you can see, right here, just the various things that have uploaded in one way or another. We do a daily devotional video 5 days a week. So that's what all of these red ones are. This is our worship service from this past weekend. And then it starts looking at playlists coming down here of various playlists from way back. So North Hills has been using YouTube for quite a while. So you'll see exactly what Lauren was talking about. You'll see a bunch of playlists here. But what we really want to look at here is how to go live and how to upload videos. Because you've got kind of, and it hides over here, but you can expand by clicking up on the left-hand corner, and you can look at various specific playlists. You can just go to your history, your library. You can go to all of your videos. And this is where all the videos are. Some of these are scheduled. They're not even ready to roll yet. So when you upload, you'll see where to do that. But this is all of our content. You can look at analytics. Like, there's a lot more deeper dive to do, but we're going to try and keep things a little basic. But if you want to start playing around with things, this would be some of an area to do that. We still want to go this little camera with the plus. That is our ticket. So wherever you're at, you can always tap on that and it'll bring up this little window that says either upload videos or go live. When we upload videos, it'll bring up kind of a place to select a file, and you can select whatever file might be, that you might be trying to preview or whatnot. So there we go. I selected a file. Lauren, can we see this? Just making sure is this coming through?
Got it.
Okay, great. So you can title it, you can give a description, you can add a thumbnail if you want right here. And then here's where you'd mark it on whatever playlist you want to put it on. And then this is, and I'm going to mention this twice, but if you say that it is made for kids, that's a great thing that you're making content for kids. But what that will do is it will block some of the functionality. And so it will block, for instance, you won't be able to comment. No one will be able to comment on your video. And the more comments happen on your video, the higher YouTube pushes it up in its algorithms. So even though it might be plenty kid friendly, you often would be my guess, you probably want to make sure it just says, no, it's not made for kids. There's other options as well. You can put different tags on it. You can choose its language. That'll apply for many of our churches. You can choose what language it's in. You can go recording date, all sorts of things, different settings here that are fairly straightforward. When you go over here to the video elements, that's kind of step 1. And then you go to step 2, you can add an end screen. You can add little cards that'll pop up that people can click on if you want. That's a more advanced thing. And then under visibility, you can either publish it publicly, unlisted, which means someone can with a link can find it, but you can't search for it, or private if you're just trying to test something, right? So I'm going to go private here, but you can also schedule it and have it published later on. Another thing I use all the time on this is you can copy the video's link with this little double square right here, and just one tap on that and it's going to copy that link, and you can then paste it anywhere you want. If you're going to send a link to that video via email, or if you need that link to embed on your website, any of that kind of a thing. So I'm going to actually close out of that because I don't really need to, it saved it as a draft for me. So I'm going to just delete it. It's always, there we go, delete forever. Yeah, I understand that it can't be undone. So there we go. And that deletes that video. In the meantime, we're going to go back up here to create, and you can go to go live. Now, this is the magical button that that brings up a very complex screen. Okay, so we're going to take this slow. There's the first thing you want to look at are these 3 things off to the left. If I expand them by touching the 3 lines up in the upper left-hand corner, you've got your stream, your webcam, or manage. So we're going to start on the webcam because it's probably the most straightforward. Now this doesn't support the webcam, in part because it's Chrome that I'm on, or no, it's Safari that I'm on here. I'd need to download Chrome, but Chrome is what we're streaming through right now. So yeah, but you would be able to use the webcam that's on your computer, which is a great thing. So it makes it super simple. I will caution you that before YouTube allows you to go live, they typically have a little bit of like a 24-hour process that they go through where you get permission, they verify that you're real, that kind of a thing. And so there is a little bit of a delay. So make sure you do this and test this before you actually want to go live for your first time, because YouTube will have you jump through some hoops, and you don't want to be doing that last minute. You want to do that at least probably a couple days prior. Here on stream, that's the next place we're going to go. This is if I wanted to just go live immediately, then I could take this and I'd open this up on my computer. And then what I would be doing is I would go to my encoder or my camera system, whatever it is that I'm going to be sending the signal to YouTube from. Okay. And so an encoder this is where things can get very complicated. So I'm going to just try and use as simplified language as I can. An encoder takes your video and audio signals and makes them so that the internet can read them, basically. It translates it so that YouTube can see it, so your computer can understand it. An encoder is an important piece of equipment. It's built into some cameras on the market, and we talked about tech a little while ago, last week. It's built into some. For some, it's a little bit more complicated. So here's what you're finding right here. You're finding your stream key, this right here, and I don't want to hit reset. That would be disastrous right now for us. But right here, this is your stream key, and you can take this stream key and you can copy it and paste it somewhere in your encoder's settings. It's going to ask for your stream key. This is what it's asking for. It wants this. What will happen if I link an encoder to this stream key, then right here is going in this window is going to appear whatever is appearing on my camera. Okay. So again, I take the stream key, I copy it, I put it into, type it into, paste it into, however you access your encoder, put it into the proper area in my encoder's settings, and that tells the encoder to send its video signal to YouTube, to right here. And so that will give you that window. Then you have a stream URL. If you want to use this through another portal to put a certain frame on it, if you want to use it on your website and stream to your website, then the stream URL, this is what you're looking for, this RTMP link right here. Okay. If you want just a standard link, if you want to just shoot a link in an email or a text message to someone, you would go up to the upper right-hand corner to this arrow. And this arrow is a share. And then you would get this right here, this video link. And you can, again, click the two squares, the doubled up squares, and that's copy a link. And so you can hit copy a link and then paste it into whatever. Or you can, it'll automatically open any of these wonderful services here. So now, so that's kind of the most critical pieces of what you're looking at on this screen. You can do various things with 360 video and things that you probably won't be using. You can also take a look at your analytics, how many people are viewing at the same time as you're going along. As it's streaming, you can go to Stream Health and it will tell you how many megabytes or bytes per second that you're streaming at, how healthy it is. It'll give you green, yellow, red. It will allow you to kind of interact with that. So that tells you if your internet connection basically is up to par and is functioning well with the amount of data that your encoder is trying to send to it. Is there a good connection between your camera and encoder and YouTube and its platform? So that's what this is all about. From here, the other thing that you can do is you can click up here in title. If I click up on, or no, this is actually, okay. So this is the title because this is our set title from this last week. But The other thing I can do is I can say, I want to get all this set up ahead of time. This is a lot to do at the last minute. So you can go to manage, and this is the where you'll really make your bread and butter in many ways. This is where you're prepping things. So you can go and you can schedule a stream. I'm going to just click on this older one that we have here just to show you somewhat what it looks like. Because it's scheduled, it has a unique share link. So this share link is unique. So now I can create an event. Here's our worship service coming up for the weekend. And I can copy that link and paste it into my email, onto our social media, onto a church-wide text blast, whatever kind of communication systems you're going with. And then that link will be consistent. I can edit the details as well. And if you're setting it up for the first time, this is where you would do so. This is where you can change your title. You can put in a description, right? One of the things we do is we put in our CCLI permissions just to show YouTube that, hey, we have permission to use this song, and the way we are doing so, we're not breaking any laws. And I will caution you, if you're a speaker really wants to use like a clip from a movie, that's a good way for YouTube to take your stream down. I know it's fun to do when we're live and in person, but if you do it while you're streaming to YouTube, they may just cut your stream off because they have algorithms that search for copyrighted material. So we post our CCLI information whenever we put it in. Then you put when you want to schedule it for. What's the date? What's the time? Is it public? Is it private? Is it unlisted? Just like those video uploads. You can put it in a category. You can give it a thumbnail for people. You can add it to any of your playlists that you would like as well. You can set an audience. Again, this time it's set no, it's not made for kids. And you can go through all of these kinds of settings, the language, the recording date and time and place, and what kind of licensing, all of that. Most of these you probably won't touch for the most part. But I also want to show you off to the left-hand side here. Those are all the details that you're setting up for your event. This is your live chat. You can enable your live chat. You can enable a slow mode where it's not going to allow messages super fast, so you can filter some of them if you need to. You can allow it to replay, so people that go back and watch your live stream later will see the chat as it happened on the time when it was live. That's what that does. But I want to show you kind of this community settings as our last thing here, and then we're gonna talk about some Q&A if you have any questions. So right here we have just kind of general settings that you can go through. You can, on your channel, this is some of the settings that Lauren was talking about, upload defaults, permissions. But under community, you can create moderators, and that allows you to select some people in your church who are moderators for your channel, and they will be able to dialogue back and forth with anybody that's watching. And next to their name, it will say moderator, basically saying, hey, I have some authority to answer. And it will also allow them to remove comments, just in case you're worried about inappropriate ones, or to defuse any potential unfortunate situations in that way. So there are also approved users. There are users that you can hide, or in other words, they can't comment. And then there's also blocked words. You know, you can go through and type in all your 4-letter words right there. You can type in whatever other kinds of language that you want to block, and you can block links so people can't post a link to it. So those are all really important security settings, and then you just save it, and you would come back and you'd go and you'd be right here ready to go. And then once you had that encoder or you were on live, you just click where it says no data right here. This little gray dot would go red when you're ready to go live, and you just click on it and boom, you go live. You can also click right up here on the giant go live button. So that is, everybody, how you go live in YouTube. on YouTube Studio. So we want to take some time now and kind of open things up for any questions you might have. We can show you, we'll keep our windows open here. Any questions you might have as you look, best practices, what are some things that you've noticed as you go along, or any questions that you might have in case you're concerned about navigating one of these parts. So anybody have any questions? In the meantime, Lauren, I had a quick question for you, and I'm going to bring back up our page. If you could bring that back up for me, Icky. I'm going to go back here to my channel on our church. This image up here, you were talking about a featured video. Would it appear up here in place of the banner image, or where does the featured video take place? Do you know?
I do know. So I wonder, I'm going over to our SCC YouTube account, and if we can switch it over, I can show you guys.
Yeah.
So pull that up on my screen, and then when you go over to it, we'll see that there. So it's currently loading. So on our featured video, it's this one right here. So it's going to be loading in just a sec. So this one right here, where it says SCC mission, vision, values, and objectives, that's our featured video. So the home page of our channel looks a little bit different than what Tim was showing for North Hills. Of course, you have plenty of options, right? So on ours, you do see our uploads here. So on Tim's channel, the uploads were all the way up here, right, for North Hills Church. So this pretty much just pushes everything down. So we have our featured video here. This is what people will see when they go. You'll see this is just at the top, you'll see youtube.com/SCC Adventist. This is our main page. So when you send people to that YouTube link, this is the first thing they'll see, and usually it auto plays. So this pretty much is just a recap of the mission, vision, values, and objectives of our Southern California Conference. So that's what we want people to continue to see, right? We want to reinforce that in our viewers' minds. So we put that here so that every time they go to our channel, it auto plays. It's the first thing they see. And then here we have a description that's linked to our featured video. So it says, welcome to our YouTube channel. We're so glad you connected with us. And so it's just talking about that. This is our description under this video. So that's the featured video. The banner image is the same banner image that we have on our Twitter and Facebook accounts. So again, that consistency, right? And then we've got our profile picture here. But this is the featured video. So go ahead.
Where did you go to set that up, Lauren? Do you remember?
That's a great question, isn't it? Yeah, this was such a long time ago that we did that. So I'm actually not logged in right now. Let me see. See, I'm on a different browser.
Well, we can play around on mine if you want, and then you can just tell me where, like, maybe I go to our videos.
So yeah, I think it's somewhere in like the channel, actually, where it might be. I'm not sure, but if you go to the home section of your channel where it says customize channel, I think is the language. I think it might be there, but like I said, it's been quite some time since I set this up.
Channel trailer for people who haven't subscribed, feature video. Here it is. All right. So yeah, over on mine, it's right down there. Great. So this is where, right here, you got a feature video, and then you can do a trailer. So little clips of various things that if you want to create a video as a trailer for people who haven't tuned into your church, can be a what to expect when they're showing up. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to put one of those together. I learned something today, everybody. How about you?
This is awesome. This is awesome. I'm glad you brought this up because it's actually showing the difference between people who have subscribed and not subscribed. So for returning subscribers, those are people who already know you. They already know your church. It could be your members or friends in the community who really engage with some different outreach you do or something like that, right? So people who are connected with you already. So perhaps an introductory video like what we have may not be something you want to do. It may be. We do that because we really want to continue to reinforce our mission. But the channel trailer is for people who have not yet subscribed. So this is for people who it's more introductory. They don't know you. So it's kind of cool that there are two different ones for those different audiences.
Absolutely. Absolutely. again, like subscribing to a video is a really great, and you're absolutely right, Matthew, consistency. That is where it's at. And it can be great to try and just slowly track how many viewers am I getting, how many subscribers, new subscribers are we getting in a month. Those are measurable things. But I think a key, and we'll diagnose this at another time as well, but a key is what do you do once they've subscribed? Because a subscriber is not the end goal. It's to move them from subscriber to disciple. And so how do you move people from viewers to subscribers to disciples at some point? What is that kind of next steps process? And we'll have to dig into that one of these weeks. So
Yeah,
any other
absolutely.
questions, everybody?
As maybe some other questions are coming in, as we've thought over recent years with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and all of these other platforms changing so frequently and just becoming even more massive platforms that we use every day, something that has really been clear in social media is that people used to, years ago, when it was a little bit more new, people used to put a lot of importance on followers and subscribers and likes and all that stuff. While those are really important metrics to track, we realize that while that's important, it's not where you should spend all of your energy necessarily, because engagement is a lot more important than that. You may have a lot of subscribers, a lot of likes and followers, but your daily streams, your daily content, the stuff that you do might not have that much engagement. People aren't commenting, people aren't tuning in. So the number of subscribers really is relative. So while of course we want to get more subscribers so that we can feed into that engagement, how you're connecting, right? How we're providing that content, care, and connection is a lot more important. I know sometimes people call them vanity metrics, right? Like subscribers. It looks really good because you have a lot of subscribers. That's not necessarily the bottom line that shows how well you're connecting and caring for people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As churches, we have a little bit of different goals from your YouTube personalities that are just trying to get revenue in for themselves, which is based on their viewers and subscribers and ad clicks. For us, it's a little different goal. But well, I don't see any other questions, but if you are watching this afterwards, feel free to comment below and we will jump on occasion and make sure we're following through and answering any of your questions. We'd also love to know, what is it that you are most in need of more information about? And maybe we'll talk some digital strategy stuff next week if we don't get some other feedback. But we want to pursue, if you speak up and you just say, hey, I could use some help in lighting, in what in the world Tim talked about, an encoder. How does that work? How do you set one of those up? What are my options for an encoder? Because that can be really confusing. It's more complicated. Those kinds of questions, or sound. How do I get better audio? Because audio is more important than video. And so those kinds of questions, we'd love to know. Where are you at? What are you trying to set up? What are you struggling with right now? Let us know. We'll be back every Tuesday at the same time, same channel, and we will we'll do our best to answer. And sometimes we'll maybe have to go do some research for you and come back to you. But it's great to be in ministry together like this. So every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, right here on the SEC Digital Ministry Support Network. So. Thanks everybody for joining us. Lauren, any last words?
Yeah, we're glad you guys came. And if you want to review the video, rewatch it, stop at some of those important points, go ahead. We'll take a look, like Tim said, at the comments later. If you want to review our past videos, they're all there for you. And any questions, comments you have, this video was a response to a question that we received. So any questions, challenges, or even things you're curious about, like things are going okay, but I feel like we could be doing better. We're ready to take it to the next step. We can offer some of that advice as well. So let us know what you're going through. We're here for you. We're learning alongside each other, like Tim said, going forward day to day together in ministry.
Absolutely. So check out the videos that we've got on the Facebook group. We've got some stuff up on the SEC's website. that you can go to. The link will be posted below. We'll post that below so you can find that link. In the meantime, dig in. It's an adventure. Technology can be a crazy headache. I don't know, like our church service this last weekend, don't go back and watch it because like wind was blowing, mics weren't working because we have to preach now with face masks on, right? And so like that's its own thing. And yeah, it was an interesting Saturday. So and then our tech totally went down, all my slides and all of that stuff. So it's pretty wild. But you can go to scc.adventist.org/DMSN, and that's where you'll find some of these other links if you want to share them with your members and things like that. In the meantime, have a great day, everybody, and good luck out there. We're praying for you.